What's going on, good people? Rich here.
School in the building. What's happening?
Hey man, back at it again with another episode of the Culture Garden podcast.
Yes.
Shout out to the lovely Ray P.
Ray Pizzle.
Of course, man, the irreplaceable, the third member of this trilogy. She will not be recording with us tonight, but she'll be back next week. Obviously, it's always a pleasure recording with Ray. We can't wait to have her back and discuss something for next week for y'all. But in the meantime, School and myself, man, I think we're pretty good consolation prize. You know what I mean?
I would say so, man.
Hey, man, shout out to y'all for listening. Shout out to y'all for watching if you're on YouTube, man. That never gets old. I think we get more excitement and enjoyment each time that we are able to say that, because that means you're continuing to tune in, to listen, to watch. It doesn't go unnoticed. It doesn't go underappreciated. We love the fact that we were able to kind of build something and still growing for people like us who love films the same way we do, who love television the same way we do. Yep. We hear all of your comments. We see all of your DMs, your YouTube comments, everything, man. So a lot of people be on my ass about some of the things that I say. Sometimes rightfully so. Sometimes, I'll argue the point. School, I know that's your thing. Just making sure you'll stand on that hill.
Yep. Yeah, I'm standing my ground. So DM me. I got you.
Yeah, man. But no, even all the great words, the incredible, the flowers that you guys give us for the work that we do, man. It's so rewarding, especially when you get into the mix of it and you trying to, I don't want to say it gets redundant, but, obviously there are times where you just, you're human. You got regular stuff going on, and those are the things that are said to keep us going. So we appreciate y'all wholeheartedly. Here for another episode. We said Ray P. We got y'all.
Yep.
We got y'all is on a break right now, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be dropping an episode soon.
Yes.
Just to kind of check in with everybody, kind of discuss what we've been up to, what we've been watching, things of that nature. I'll let Ray P kind of put that together. That's her podcast. But I can't wait.
I was going to tell y'all need to hurry up, man. Got niggas feeling like Pookie, nigga. I'm ready.
Hey, man, we appreciate that. Hopefully not like Pookie all the way.
Hey,
but,
no.
But we really, we'll definitely be back for sure in November. Like, we have a TV show. As long as everything goes cool with the actor strike, the writer strike's been lifted. As long as everything goes on as scheduled, we will definitely be back in November with the show for y'all. School.
Huh?
School's Guilty Pleasures, man. School's Guilty Pleasures, man. If you haven't checked it out, Demolition Man released last week.
Yep.
School has another episode that's coming out this week. This shit is so fried, y'all.
Hey.
That it's so fried that I don't even know if it's gonna come out, just because that movie is so hard to find.
Hey, the movie that we doing is not available on Amazon. Amazon said fuck that movie. So that just lets you know what type of trash I'm on. So,
oh man, so hopefully I won't be on it. School's gonna have another guest, but hopefully for the sake of it, it's found. If not, then I know he'll come up with something else. But there's some silly shit. This is even out my wheelhouse, y'all. I told School, like, y'all, you got it, bro. I can't do it. I mentioned YouTube, so if you are watching on YouTube, another thing that we've been looking at and working on is, not all of our episodes are up on YouTube. We had about 20, 30. I can't remember how many episodes that we recorded before we actually did our first YouTube episode, which was Set It Off, I believe.
Yes.
So anything before Set It Off is strictly audio. So if you do watch on YouTube and you're not a podcast person as far as going to download the podcast app or whatever, we're going to try to put those up without any video, obviously, but just so you guys can have them and listen to them on YouTube if that's your preference.
Sure.
And then School, myself, Rachel, we're wrapping up the year, and this is going to be a big 2024 for Culture Garden.
Yep.
School and myself were talking earlier about a couple ideas that we really want to lay. We're working on the foundation for it, and we want to make sure it's right. But we're really excited about them, and continuing the conversation about actors, films, putting our twist on things. I don't want to say too much. Like I said, we're working on it, but it's going to be a fun time in 2024. Yes. Some of the projects and things that we have going on for you guys. So please remember to like, share, subscribe. If you know somebody who loves films like us, please make sure you mention that to them. We got the link tree in the description of our Instagram page, the Culture Garden Podcast. You can check it out. Check us out there. Thank y'all, man. Sincerely, thank you.
Thank you.
Before we get into today's film, there will be spoilers, even though it came out in '93, and there will be explicit content. The film we're doing today, as you can obviously see in the title, is CB4. School.
Yes, sir.
This was your week to pick.
Yes, sir.
People might not know, if you've listened to our Head of State episode, you will know. School's favorite Chris Rock movie is Down to Earth. And I promise y'all, I'm not making this up. When School said he was going to do a movie, there was something in my gut saying he was going to pick Down to Earth. So it was just ironic that you ended up picking up Chris Rock movie. It just wasn't the one that I chose. But I had some gut feeling like Chris Rock, and I think it's because you were trying to shoot Chris a little bail because that's right when the Will and Jada stuff was coming out, Jada promoting the book. Yeah. I'm like, man, maybe School trying to be a little nice to Chris because I know you want to say it too. But what made you go with CB4?
The reason I picked CB4, first off, I know we talk about first experiences, so I'm gonna get into that real quick. My first experience with this movie is the 1480 classic, like pop. Yeah, we watch this shit all the fucking time. And I love to reiterate that we were watching a lot of shit that we shouldn't have been watching. Like I'm talking about, we were 8, 9 watching shit that was crazy. But that made
I'll talk about that.
So
that really did make us who we are. I'll talk about that in first experiences too.
Yeah. So with that being said, I really chose this movie for Charlie Murphy, man. I love Charlie Murphy, and I just feel like, man, he's gone, and we don't get that. We don't get Charlie no more. So I'm like, you know what, man, I wanna give Charlie some love this month. So that's why I picked CB4. I used to love Chris Rock, especially his stand-up, but as a human, Chris Rock trash. So that's it.
There's some personal things that I'm sure School don't want to get into. No, he don't care about getting into it any deep, but I know he don't rock with Chris Rock because of certain comments that he's made about certain people.
Trash.
As far as the synopsis of this film goes, a guy makes a documentary of the rap band CB4 by following them. CB4 got popular by stealing Gusto's name, background, and image. He wants them dead. As far as that's the synopsis, man. That's the movie. This shit's silly, y'all. This gonna be, if like I mentioned Head of State earlier, if you listen to our Head of State episode, it's gonna be along those veins. There's some silly shit. As far as the stats go, this film was released March 12, 1993, so it is officially over 30 years old. Yes. Directed by Tamara Davis. Tamara Davis also directed Billy Madison, which makes sense given the relationship between Chris Rock and Adam Sandler. Yep. She directed Half Baked, and she's directed an episode of Empire and P-Valley. So as far as notable things within the culture, she's been active. It's written by Chris Rock, Nelson George, and Robert Locash. Ding, ding, ding. If you wondered where Locash came from, one of the writers' last name. Had a budget of an estimated $6 million and made $17.9 million, $6.1 million opening weekend, which isn't like a box office smash, but considering what this movie was and when it came out, I'm not mad at it. I'm sure they weren't mad at it either. It actually made some money. Fact. And it is currently streaming on Stars if you're looking to watch it. If you're a sicko like me and School, you own this film.
Own this. Yep.
Yeah, you own this. So, yeah. I didn't see any sicko, man. I didn't see any awards for this film. I don't know if you caught anything, School.
Yeah, it won 16 Razzies. This shit's trash.
Nah. As far as the cast goes, we have Chris Rock as Albert, aka MC Gusto, or also known as MC Gusto. Alan Payne as Euripides, also known as Dead Mike. Deezer D as Otis, man, he rest in peace. And Stab Master Arson, he passed away a couple years ago. Yeah. Chris Elliott is A White. That's that nigga name, A White. Phil Hartman is Virgil Robinson. Charlie Murphy is R.I.P. Phil Hartman, man. A lot of great people in this film, unfortunately, are no longer with us, man. Charlie Murphy is Gusto. Candy Alexander is Sissy. Incredible performance. We'll talk about her.
Yes.
Art Evan as Albert Sr. Teresa Randall as Eve. Teresa Randall was looking good. I'm telling you, man. She was looking good in this movie. Mm-hmm. Willard E. Pugh as Trustus. Rachel True. Young Rachel True, man. Early Rachel True, man. Out here as Dahlia.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Gant as Baba Ock. Stoney Jackson. Yes, nigga, that's Stoney Jackson.
Stoney Jackson.
as Wacky D. J.D. Daniels is Ben. I only shout out J.D. Daniels. That's Virgil Robinson's son, the councilman's son.
Yes.
Plays Ben. I'm only shouting him out because he didn't play a big role in the movie, but he was Peter in the original Mighty Ducks movie.
Yes.
So I had to shout him out. If you are era, you love Mighty Ducks. He was one of the kids that didn't make the cut from the original to the sequel.
Yep.
He's definitely in the original.
Yes. Yes.
And we also have appearances from Isaac Hayes, LaWanda Page, and Tommy Davidson. Did you know Isaac Hayes was in this film school?
No, I did not.
All right, we'll talk about it. We gonna talk about it.
Yeah.
As far as first experiences, I know you mentioned it, school 1480 classic.
Yep.
If you listen to the podcast, you know 85, and 1480. Those are two specific addresses that mean the world to me in school.
Yes.
Let's get into it, man. What you remember about your first experience?
My first experience is always the same, man. Heating up some food or getting some Pizza Hut or something crazy and running upstairs, running back downstairs and watching this movie, laughing my ass off. Like,
yeah, man.
It's funny as you age, some shit ain't as funny, or I don't even want to say it's not as funny. It's just you've seen it so much that you kind of just, it's at a standstill, but this movie still holds up for me. Like,
yeah, we had that conversation briefly when we did our Wayans Brother episode, which, not to pat our own backs, that was a pretty solid episode, man. That's one of those episodes you forget about, and then you go back and listen. Like, damn, the Wayans Brothers episode was pretty good.
Hold on, side note, I be sick of this nigga. Like, I don't even want to toot our horn, but our shit good, bro. Like,
yeah, man. You know me, man.
You do that, bro. You do that once a month. You go back and be like, hey, bro, I listened to such and such. That shit was decent. Like, nigga, I told you.
Yeah, and you definitely, that's exactly what school says. And part of it is, for those who don't know, I don't really listen to our episodes.
Yeah.
Which I did in the beginning, and I don't anymore. Like, I haven't even listened to Menace to Society. Like, there's certain episodes I haven't listened to Life. There's so many episodes I personally haven't gone back and listen to. I will at some point, and I need to do that more for marketing, just so I can start taking clips and putting them out there. But I don't know. This is kind of a weird thing. I never understood. I'll say this. I never understood when actors said they don't watch their movies.
Yeah.
Until we started doing the pod.
It makes sense.
And I'm like, I get it. Just kind of, you in the moment, you captured in, and you don't want to, because I go crazy. I nitpick.
Yeah.
School, I'm sure whenever we talk about like our story, school will tell you in the beginning, man, you talk about one of the most nitpicky, take 35, let's do it again type of dudes. That was me. And then, I just learned to grow and just accept the authenticity of what we do and just let it roll. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's got to be real.
Yep.
And that's what it comes down to. But as far as my first experiences, obviously 1480, Pops was a big influence for this film. And you said that we were 8, 9 watching this film when we had no business. We were so young watching this movie that I didn't even really know what was going on. Because I remember vividly as a teenager, I'd say 14, 15. I remember being in the living room and my pops was in his room. And I remember him like coming out, just sweat up my balls, like just singing a song, bro. I'm like, what are you on? Like, what? And he just started getting weak. He was just talking about this scene, and we were watching that Phil Hartman scene together when he comes in and tells them they can't perform it. And he used to crack up at that stuff. And he's not, my pops wasn't really a slapstick comedy type of guy.
Yep.
We have very similar music tastes, but the slapstick comedy he did like was on brand. I liked it too. School liked it, all types of stuff. So he played a big influence into the film, and it's definitely slapstick and funny and goofy. It's not to be taken seriously, which is good at times, to not have to dissect too deep. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't at least acknowledge some of the, unfortunately back then in 93, it wasn't controversial, but definitely things now that you look at and like you cringe a little bit because, you're making jokes at the expense of some people. And, we're not that podcast that's going to get too deep into it, but we also don't want to act like it's not there.
Right.
Certain scenes with Euripides and where he works.
Yeah.
And what he does for a living before getting in the rap group. And obviously, just poking at that. So we want to acknowledge it, but a lot of films, and that was the time. That's not an excuse by any means, but that was the time.
Yeah.
So I only say that because we can do that with every movie that came out in this era.
Yes.
But like I said, just want to acknowledge it. I want to make it seem like we don't know that it's going on. This film predicted, I think, the future of rap.
Bruh, man, what?
This and I think I think the Boondocks kind of perfected it.
Yeah.
With the Thugnificent and Gangstalicious episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the first one that really set the tone of what rap could be.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look back at 1993 because here we are, 2023.
Yep.
And hip hop is 50 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrating his 50th birthday. Hip hop was 20 back
Yep.
then, and gangster rap had just came on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I think 7 years had passed since Run DMC came out, and obviously that's not gangster rap. But that kind of was one of the first acts that made, not the only act, but one of the first that kind of pushed into the mainstream, walked this way. Obviously, it just brought more eyes to hip hop. And then you have NWA and gangster rap, reality raps, whatever you want to call it, came on the scene. So with it being such a short time between that, I read something where they were saying, like, I don't even know if a lot of people watching the film who aren't familiar with rap would even get some of the jokes because everything was so fresh. It was so new. You had to really be engulfed in that life. And go ahead.
Also a thing. I can't remember what podcast I was listening to, but it definitely was a rap. It might have been Beanie, could have been Jada. I can't remember specifically, but they were speaking on you couldn't be a gangster rapper if you wasn't a gangster in real life. Like you just couldn't do certain things and play a certain persona. They wouldn't allow that. So if you said you was a gangster rapper, you had to be a gangster for real. Like, and now in 2023, like rap is just a persona. Like these niggas just be whoever.
It's acting.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's acting.
Pretty much.
And obviously things happen, transpired throughout the past 30, 50 years for that to be that way. One thing that's really fascinating when you look at this film and when it came out is where hip hop was. And I mean that in the sense of how serious, it's kind of comical to think about FBI sending letters like they did to NWA.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of comical to think about police presence at concerts saying what you can and can't say on stage, all these restrictions and regulations and protests. Because that just doesn't happen anymore. It goes to your point, School. It's kind of an act. It's like we don't believe y'all anyway. I don't believe you a gangster. I don't believe you selling none of that shit you saying. I don't believe you bodied none of these people. Right. I don't even believe. You definitely ain't fucking my girl. Nah. You know what I mean? Like all that y'all just entertaining this rap, regurgitated bullshit.
Well, it's also like you're talking about too in '93. Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife, led the charge on the parental advisory explicit content. At one point you can go buy a rap album, and they was talking about wild shit, and there was no sticker or nothing. Like you just was listening to this shit. Your mama was walking in like, boy, what's going on in here? Like, so that shit.
I was just gonna say shout out to Uncle Luke.
Yes,
shout out to Uncle Luke, man. First rapper to have a parental advisory sticker on his album. Because obviously, everybody should know who Uncle Luke is.
Listen, I'm about to throw it back, and motherfuckers probably don't even remember this. Walmart didn't sell the explicit. You got it. Your mom said, "I got it from Walmart." Man, throw that shit away.
You already knew what it was. They didn't even give you the option to buy explicit. It was all clean music in Walmart. Yep. All clean music. I definitely remember that. That's crazy that you brought that back. Yep. Moms was definitely buying some albums. I'm trying to think of the first year, how old I was when Moms bought me an explicit content. I can't remember.
Hey, shout out to Lil Sis for snitching on me. I had that Mystical Shake Your Ass album, and I was sneaking and listening to it, and I fucked up and let Lil Sis hear it. I was like, listen to this. And she went and told on me, man.
Yeah, man. That's another awful human being, by the way, Mystical. Terrible human being, terrible person, for real. Like, dead ass, awful human being. But I was thinking about this while watching this film, especially when you get to the scene later on and they in the old home and, Albert's having this dream. This is the first time that I think rap has been active at an old age. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of this film plays into that. I mean, I don't know if you know this, School, but about 10, 12 years ago, Chris Rock was thinking about doing a sequel to CB4.
No.
Because he never expected. Okay, then, he was on Sway in the Morning, and he was talking about it because they didn't think about hip-hop older rappers, because that wasn't a thing. That's not a thing.
Right.
You didn't see, once KRS got to a certain point, he stopped putting out albums. Once Rakim got to a certain point, he stopped putting out albums. Here you have today, Nas, he just turned 50 this year. He dropped 6 bangers in the past 3 years. He's rapping his ass off. And it makes you rethink. He did an interview. I can't remember who it was with, unfortunately, but he did an interview kind of saying, I want more of my peers, people in my era, to start rapping on a consistent basis, not this once every few years, once every 5 or 6, like we see sometimes, but drop music because there's an audience for it.
Yep.
And we're that audience. We're the audience that are growing up. Now that we're growing up, I don't want to listen to, and no disrespect to the young cats, like they gotta have their shine in their time. Like I get when my parents came in, what you listen to? What's that? What they saying? Man, cut this off.
Yep.
I remember that time and enjoying that music. So I'm not gonna be the guy on the lawn saying like, get off my porch or whatever the case is, or get off my lawn. I fucked that whole statement up. Y'all know what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, thank you. So I want them to have their own, but also I enjoy, as somebody who enjoys hip hop, I want to make sure I have some content as well. And I wanted to ask you, School, about your relationship with hip hop now, because, as we mature and as we get older, and this could be a real deeper conversation for another platform and another day, just about the influence of hip hop and some of the negative things that we carry with us, even if we didn't think of it at that time, just some of the things we have to unlearn as far as the way we were taught to, I don't want to say taught, because that might be giving hip hop a little bit too much power,
right,
and blame, but the influence that it has on young people, as far as the things that you say and do, and then after a while you become accustomed to thinking that that's okay.
Right.
So, what is your relationship with hip hop now? Because I find myself listening to it less and less, unless it is some older stuff that I grew up with, or if it's somebody like Nas dropping new album, new projects. If you in your 40s and 50s, like a lot of these rappers are, and you still putting out stuff, I'm rocking with it.
Yeah, that's pretty much, we on the same boat. I've been listening to a lot more R&B more than I've listened to rap. I mean, side note, Diddy just dropped a cold ass album.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is nice.
It is super nice.
Like I haven't, man, I don't listen to nothing for real, especially no one new. I listen to Gunna every blue moon,
Gunna was on his Gusto shit. He was on his Albert shit, man.
Yeah, but besides that, man, I'm a Lil Wayne head, man. Like Wayne just dropped a preview to the Carter 6 or something like that, and I listened to that. It had a couple bangers on it. But if I listen to hip hop, like you said, I always go back, or someone that I loved since I was younger. You know what I mean? So that's about it. I can't name 5 new artists.
Yeah, and that's a good thing about, I think, a lot of the artists we grew up on, the ones we were really fans of, if they are still putting out music, their music is maturing with them. It's not, they're not trying to do what the young kids are doing now.
Right.
And I love hip hop, so I don't want this to come off as hip hop's terrible, it's awful. But I think looking back as a grown man, there were some things that we probably could have. All right, I get it. I get why the FBI and C. Dolores Tucker and all that was on their head. And it's not just hip hop. You can take this to film, you can take this to rock, you can take this to all types of stuff. I don't want to single out hip hop and our culture and what we do. I'm just speaking from my experience and some of the things that I was influenced by. But I still love it all the same, man.
Yep.
And who was it? Lil Duval, I think, recently just said he was, he's talking about music in general and just saying, like, there's a lot of music out there, but unless it's good, we're not going to find it. Like, we're not going to go after it. We're going to listen to the things that we grew up on or all of that kind of stuff. So it's a different game. I miss going to Best Buy, Circuit City, Kips. Shout out to Kips, Record Arcade, and College Hill. Cincinnati is no longer around. But I miss going every week to see what the new album was. Now it's records.
Come on,
Everybody's Records. That's still around. Shout out to them.
Shout out to them.
But it is a little bit odd, just all this. It's convenient to have it at your fingertips, but all this music coming at once. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to all this and sort through this. You got to sort through 10 bad albums to get through one.
Yep.
Stick to what you know.
And that's one of the things that I've found myself really loving about this movie was that nostalgia that. I think we talked earlier about how the CDs were in a big ass, like, rectangular box thing. Like, even reading the credits, bro, like knowing who produced the song. And
if you like me right now, you'll probably open up the credits.
Hey, I'll never forget that shit, bro. We was listening to that. That shit crazy, man.
That's what we were doing. We were listening. Yes, Volume 3, Life of Times, Volume 3, Jay-Z, man. I'll never forget. School and myself were listening to the credit. We're reading the credits when Hov said that part on the intro.
Yep.
We looked at each other like, ain't this a bitch?
Ain't this a bitch?
Yeah, man, ain't this a bitch? But yeah, man, I love the fact that hip-hop is growing up and it is maturing and there is another layer in audience. And like I said, the main point, a long-winded way of saying, it is growing with us. And this is the first generation of that. This is the first generation of 50-year-olds who are rapping and proud of it. It's an art form. You know, back when, even when we was in high school, nigga, you 36 and you still rapping, like that was looked down upon if you over 30 and you rapping, like you a loser. Not the case anymore. Not the case at all. And please keep giving us good music if you are in that generation. If you 35, 36, them Coles, Kendricks, you know, the generation before them, you know, your Jada Kisses, your Styles, everybody. Cam just dropped a dope freestyle to that. Yes, man, I'm here for all of it.
Shout out to Nas for dropping them. And like you said, I hope he lit a fire under somebody's ass. I hope so, because man,
I always joke. Anybody who knows, man, I'm a big Jay-Z fan, huge Hov fan, like the huge Hov fan, and I always think that's him getting back a takeover, nigga. 6 albums now you can say 6 albums in 3 years, nigga. I can divide. Hey, shout out to Nas, man. And also, shout out to, did this film seem, since we got the Straight Outta Compton movie in 2015, did you look at this film a little different? Because a lot of it is very similar. Obviously, they were mocking NWA and mocking Ice Cube. You know, the Dead Mike character was definitely an Ice Cube ripoff, especially when Ice Cube left NWA, came to the East Coast, converted to Islam. All that. So you see that, but when you like even the scenes with the bus and the protests, that's in Straight Outta Compton. The sweat of my balls, the police stopping them it's in a silly matter, but we didn't have Straight Outta Compton to see that scene reenacted. All we had was CB4. So seeing it now, knowing that we have Straight Outta Compton, you get what I'm saying? Does it look a little different to you?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a different time of like necessarily rumors. Like a prime example, when Gusto took fake Gusto to rob the store. Like, remember, I can't remember Tommy Davidson's character's name, but the video guy,
Warren,
he mentioned like Gusto robbing the store. Is this real? Like, that's how it was back then. You know, now somebody would have leaked that video. We would know for sure that's Gusto. Like, it wouldn't even be a question. But
back then, out that night.
Yep. Back then, it was just hearsay. You know, shit. Damn.
What does this rank for you? This is Chris Rock's first real thing that he did on his own. We'd obviously seen him in New Jack City. We've seen him in Boomerang. Where does this rank for you as far as Chris Rock goes? Is Down to Earth still your number one? Where does this go?
Yeah, Down to Earth is still my number one. This in my top 3. This probably 2. I can't say
3.
I can't say
3.
Huh?
Head of State 3.
Yep.
I don't, and we'll have this conversation another day because I'm definitely going to pick this movie one day. My favorite Chris Rock movie is easily I Think I Love My Wife, and I don't know why you don't like that movie. And I've never really sat down and talked to you about it. I love that film. In a Chris Rock way. I'm not saying it's the best film ever, but for what Chris Rock does, I really appreciate it. Kerry Washington was in there.
I've only seen it once. I want to say once.
Were you married?
I know Stephen.
Were you married when you saw it? Yeah, he had a scene.
Nah, no.
I want to see. Okay, that's perfect, bro. I want to know your opinion once from a married man's perspective.
Okay.
Like, because that's kind of what it is. Like, I think I love my wife. Like, I don't know. Depends on the day. Like Savon said it in Love Jones, man. Depends on when you ask me.
Right.
But yeah, man. Sissy.
Fire.
Sissy was an innovator. Candy Alexander played Sissy.
Hey. Huh?
This film really did a good thing as far as predicting what was going on. The Video Girls, I don't even think that era, I don't even think it really popped off until middle school, I guess. Yeah. That late 90s, early 2000s when it really became a thing.
Yep.
So the fact that she was saying, you know, when she was giving that speech to those 2 girls in the video, saying that if you can have your own car and your own house, and it reminded me of, once again, Hov got a bar for everything. Don't let them give you hard dick and bubble gum. Make them cop the next bubble 2001, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought about making that a segment, but I don't want to force it. All these Hov bars are organic. Like, we don't sit down and think about, I'm going to use this Jay-Z line for this episode. But he really got a whole bar for everything. There's a bar for you to use for anything. And that's the first thing I thought of when she was giving that speech.
Because it's real.
And you think about where we are now. You think about your cat stacks of the world. That's a throwback for y'all out there. And just where I guess OnlyFans is a new video girl, and just that social media influencer. And not everybody. I know not everybody does that, but there's a lot of people on there on that.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the crazy thing too. Like you said, look at what them two girls were arguing about. Like, she talking about my titty was in a Rakim video, and her talking about my ass cheek was in an MC Hammer. Like, that shit's crazy, bro. Like, you can't even prove that.
But when it's funny because, like, this is before, but when you look at the video girl era and the King magazine era,
oh man,
like, that was the fame, that was it. And if you go back and read stories, and they wouldn't get paid shit, like, it was just for notoriety. It was a fame. I'm gonna make you famous.
Right.
So I just love the fact, like I said, this film kind of predicted the future in a lot of ways. One last thing before we get into the rest of our categories. We see Ben. I told y'all that's Virgil Robinson's son, the councilman, his son. We see him in this film. We see the influence. I'll talk about a little bit more about that because that's one of my favorite scenes. Do you remember the first rapper that influenced you in a way like you wanted to be like them? Or rappers?
For sure. It definitely was Ludacris.
Okay. I remember Ludacris being your favorite rapper, but I don't know if I remember you trying to be like Ludacris, like trying to dress like Ludacris or do something like Ludacris. I might be gone, but maybe he inspired your braids. I don't know.
I was gonna say I had to have the braids. I definitely rock with Luda. But that I want to say that's about it though. Like, Ludacris, and now I feel like at 34, I'm trying to look like Lil Wayne a little bit, but it's not on purpose. I swear.
Right. It just kind of happened like that. That's just the look. That way. I thought about this, and it's real easy for me. The first rapper that I wanted to be like, Mace.
We all know.
Before Jay-Z, it was Mace, man. You couldn't tell me nothing about Mace. Like, when I got that Harlem World album, I remember for Christmas that year, that 97 Christmas, Harlem World came out in the Feel So Good video. And them niggas had on the shiny suits, and they had something that I'll never forget, y'all. They had the different colored Yankee hats. One scene had the red Yankee hat, you had the green Yankee hat, the yellow Yankee hat. I'm like, what? Crazy. I remember asking for that. I asked Santa. I was too old for Santa Claus, but I put it on Christmas list. Like, I want one of these. And my people's got me a red Yankees hat. It was size 7. I'll never forget it, bro. I had like 3 of them, and I was just so geek because I could look like Mace. Wasn't from New York, bro. I'm a kid from the Midwest, Cincinnati, Ohio. I wanted to be like Mace, and that's what, bro, I was on it. Like, I was so geeked. That Mace was, as a 10-year-old kid, that was the one. Yeah. And then I'd say besides that, I got to give credit to Cash Money. That bling bling era, if you weren't around for the bling bling era, it was something different.
Crazy.
Like, we would in school, you remember this, we would take bubble gum foil, like chewing gum foil, and put them on our bottom lips like we had grills on our top lips. So we can look like them. Like, that was what it was. And you talking about influence, like, who does that?
Bruh, you just threw it. Yo, you gotta chill, bruh. Like, I forgot all about that. We was really on that, bruh.
We was on that, yeah.
On that. Walking.
But I want to highlight the influence that rap has, like, and they had on us. Like, that was just great times, man.
Yeah.
Great times. So I gotta ask you, before we get into scenes and all that, school.
Yes.
Classic or not?
Yeah, it's a classic.
I'm not giving it classic. It's a cult classic for sure. Classic for sure. I can't give it classic, and the only reason I say that is because I actually had to think about it.
That's
what I have to think about it. It's not a classic.
Yeah, then I agree because I just thought about it. I had to as well, so it ain't.
Yeah, but you want to. It's a nostalgia. You want to.
Yes.
I went into this wanting to be a classic. It's a very good movie, very entertaining. I will continue to watch it. It loses its way around the middle to the end because the B plot starts to take over.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the B plot is bad, but you're drawn in from the mockumentary.
Yes.
Once you start getting into the whole Gusto plot, it kind of loses a little bit. And that's Chris Rock just being new to all of this. Like I said, this is his first real solo thing, where he's not the side guy or just, the bony T of the world. He's actually carrying this movie and writing the jokes, and he's doing all of that. So I don't want to give him too much flack for that. So, best scenes. You want to start? You want me to start?
I would like you to start because I'm gonna be honest. I don't have many scenes. I don't. Okay. I don't.
I'll get into them. I'll explain why, and we'll just roll from there. So I'm gonna start with Albert at Home. Like when we first, after the intro, and after you leave Justice office, and you have A. White hanging with Gusto, MC Gusto, excuse me. And right after the drive-by, he starts telling them the story, and they flash back to Albert on the couch with Delilah and his whole origin. So that's one of my favorite scenes of this film. A couple reasons why. Let me say this. Let me start here. I love Ice Cube. I love hip hop. I've never loved that shit enough to where I'm kissing my girl and I'm distracted by looking at the TV. Nah, man. Delilah wants to get it on. We're getting it on.
Now let me say this though.
Yeah.
In his defense, you on the couch and it's a world premiere for the Big Pimpin' video. Your girl over. You can be distracted. Like I can get it. I get it. I'm not saying it's
okay. That's a fair. That's.
But that goes back to them not doing a good job of giving you a little bit more. Because if they would have said world premiere, new Ice Cube video, they got to give you a little more context. But for a video I've seen 6 times, absolutely not.
I was just about to say, I think the scene was made to just emphasize how much Albert loved hip hop.
Yeah.
It wasn't about world premiere or anything like that, which definitely just random flashback. I know Michael Jackson, they used to do that. They used to put his videos on cable, but I remember for some reason, I don't know why, this is the only one I can remember. I remember Usher's My Way video. Like that being the premiere of the video being a thing. I remember having a VHS. I'm aging myself like a motherfucker this episode. I remember having a VHS tape. I went in my parents' bedroom and I popped it in to record that video because I knew it was coming on.
I remember watching the making of that video. Remember MTV?
Tyrese was in the video.
The making of the video, and then they would premiere the video after. Like,
yeah,
we probably watched that shit together. That's a memory in my head.
Yeah,
of making the My Way video. Like that shit's insane, bro.
Yeah, Tyrese was in the video. It only stands out because that's for some reason, and I'm sure there were more. That's the only one I remember. It was a schedule. Like I remember I had to be in front of the TV on this day at this time because Usher's My Way is coming out, and that's another person. It's not rap, but Usher was when he dropped. I wanted to be. You make me want. I remember trying to do all them dance moves, man. And I ain't even an R&B nigga, man.
Yeah, and you damn sure ain't a dancer.
Damn sure ain't no dancer, man. You're right about that. But the pops, man. Albert Sr. was hilarious. Albert Sr. is hilarious. The jokes, some of the jokes don't land as much anymore, but for a long time, they were some of the funniest things.
Yeah.
Why you ain't school? It's Saturday. Go look at the school.
Go look at
all of those type of dad jokes. They were hilarious, but what really, well, 2 things. he said, but Pop, don't butt me. I'll beat your ass in front of your woman.
I'll beat your ass in front of your woman. Hey,
yeah, the fact that he meant that shit, but most importantly, the wacky D dance, bro. I don't know why. I'll never not laugh at that. The fact that because Albert was so annoyed, the fact that it came on and everybody jumped up. I don't know if you ever peeped. It was my first time peeping when I was doing my watch for this. That everybody name in the house was Albert. Albert Sr., you got Albert. When he yelled upstairs, he said, Albertina, Alberta, come on and watch Wacky D on the TV. And them niggas standing up and doing that Wacky D is in the house. And just the Wacky D character in general, trying to be MC Hammer, that I mentioned before, that I can dance, and putting that leg up. That shit is so silly that it makes me laugh every single time. Like, laugh out loud, real tears, goofy shit.
Because
them niggas all over there.
That shit makes me laugh because of Stoney Jackson.
Stoney Jackson, yeah, that's hilarious.
Just the Martin shit and just like how his career's panned out. Like, It's just hilarious to me. Like every
Yeah,
time.
and the leg, and I don't know what it is, the leg in the air, and just the pan of showing him and then showing the whole family trying to do that shit. They all hype, trying to
Hey,
do. It's just like, oh my goodness, it's like gimmick rap. You know, when
well,
they start talking about, it's like Soldier Boy. That would have been a perfect Soldier Boy type of thing. Like, oh, I can't believe y'all, you like turn this shit off.
That's one of the things about this movie, about, like you saying, the future and it age. That's the part that aged well because of TikTok and all that shit, bro. Like, it's a new dance on TikTok every fucking week.
It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if this film resurfaced and there was a Wacky D challenge.
You hear me?
It would not shock me at all. Like if I saw Wacky D challenge and just seen a bunch of niggas with their legs in the air, like that shit would not surprise me at all. It wouldn't shock me. Niggas, I'll beat your ass in front of your woman, man. And all that plastic on the furniture, man, that's so black. It's such a black household. What you got for your scene?
Hey, I definitely had that scene. The next scene I got, bro, is Gusto. Is Albert. Trying to ask Gusto, can he open for Wacky D? Like, Gusto, first off, we all know a Gusto, like a nigga that just, he runs
really
the
about
city.
that.
He
really about that.
Yeah, really about that. He don't give a fuck. And he asked that man, can he open for him? And that man told him to get the fuck on. And then he came back and said something else. He said, nigga, when I tell you get the fuck on, you get the fuck on. Like, he meant that shit. Like, and my favorite part is when damn, what's Alan Payne's character?
Euripides.
See, I'm bad.
Dead Mike, yeah.
Dead Mike walk up on him like, yo, what's good? Like he gonna have his back. Nigga, you lift that table up, like that nigga said, you are very angry.
Hey, brother, you easily angry, my brother.
You easily angry, my brother. Yeah, you damn right. And kick them niggas out the back, nigga. That shit's
certain people you just know. Like I'm not that nigga. He means that. Like this nigga this Gusto will air this whole bitch out just to prove a point. I'm cool. Like it ain't even worth my pride and none of that. Like my bad, Gusto. You right.
They knew better. That's why he went the next day to apologize. He knew better.
And it goes to the point. Yeah, and Albert, or not Albert, but Rip told that nigga, like, this is the only place we can perform, bro. You gotta get this, you gotta make this right. And it goes to the point of what you said earlier about you really had to be that.
Yeah.
And that's the theme that carried throughout the 90s, bro. The real gangsters ain't rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They really out here being gangsters. You could see it in the scene when he was in jail and he saw them on TV. Like how offended he was when the dude said, go ahead and spit a couple things. Nigga, I look like a fucking rapper.
Yeah.
No rapper. Like that was for a gangster, that was a diss. Like to say I'm a rapper. Like these rappers ain't out here doing what I'm doing.
And it tells you what type of era and the era and the timing, because for Albert to steal his persona, like, because word of mouth, like everybody know who Gusto is, but that doesn't mean you've seen him. Yeah, I've heard of this nigga, but I don't know what he looked like. So if Albert talking about he Gusto, shit, you believe him. Like shit.
Yeah, you can get away with that back then. Not so much today, obviously, because you have all types of information at your hands. But yeah, the rappers were as a whole, and this wasn't just the 90s. This went on in the 2000s, were considered corny. You listen to Jay-Z's Imaginary Players.
Man.
You know what I mean? Y'all rapping ass niggas, y'all funny to me. Like I'm not y'all. Shit, R.I.P. my dog Nick, man. I ain't nothing like you fucking rap niggas. You know what I'm saying? Rapper as a code, Jeezy. Because I'm a real nigga and I don't like rappers. like I'm telling you, bro, all of this, CB4 saw it. They saw it. We was gangsters. We don't do this corny rap shit. Y'all niggas out here, y'all don't even live that. So yeah. That's a great point that you made. I want to say Gusto getting arrested.
Man.
Mainly for one point. It goes to everything you just said as far as him being a real gangster, but also, officer, lock me up too. Please do not tell in front of all these niggas that I'm good to go. Nope, I'm going to jail too.
You hear me?
I am going to jail too. This is a death wish.
Not only that, bro. Why this? I know this is gonna be part of. I guess I'm jumping the gun because it really bothers me. It bothers me that dumb nigga let Albert in. Why would you let y'all in here selling kilos? Not a
That's
bag.
a fair point,
nigga.
That's
5 kilos.
yeah.
He let
5.
that
I think he
nigga
said
in.
that's 5 birds.
He let that nigga in. What?
That is weird. And
You
he
open the
knew
window
who it
and tell
was.
that nigga come back later. Click and move on. Like,
Do
what?
you think that's? Do you think because he said it, he probably just want to kick your ass? I mean, kiss your ass. You think it was like they thought so little of him that they wouldn't even? That's even. I get what you're saying. That's not something you even risk. I'm not even risking the fact that the whole deal is going down, and y'all right here in the middle of the club, wide open. It's some silly movie shit for sure. That's some goofy shit.
But like you said, bro, that shit. When that nigga said, "Oh, he's good," like, oh shit, let me. And then the worst part that Albert did for real was sit outside, like watch him go to jail and shit. Like, nigga, you should have been gone. Like, come on, man. Why is you standing out here watching this nigga get locked up?
Would you have stolen his identity in that time? If you were Albert, would you have been like, "Shit, they going crazy for him"?
Listen,
let me see if I can do this.
I would have, and let me tell you why. Because they had a good plan. The plan was smart. Like,
it worked. Yeah, it was definitely smart.
I mean, yeah, it worked. But what I'm saying is the part of taking care of Gusto, they should have done that. They should have sent him some money on his books. He should have known from jail that he was taken care of. You feel me? Like, that was the dumb part.
Listen, man. Let me tell you something real quick. Gusto wasn't going for none of that shit.
He wasn't.
If he would have been so offended if he had got money on his books from the niggas. All I can think about right now is Baby Boy, not the movie, the character Baby Boy in State Property 2. Another that's gonna be, I'm sure, on School's Guilty Pleasures one day.
Man.
In State Property 2, Baby Boy had a part where he was just like, "I'm gonna murder these niggas. I'm gonna murder these niggas." Like, and that's he said it so matter of factly, like, you know what? Y'all keep fucking with me. I'm gonna murder these niggas. That's what Gusto would have been on. Like, I promise you, as soon as I get out.
He said that shit like he was going to put on his jacket. Like, man, I'm
about to go to the store. I'm about to run to the store real quick, and I'm about to body all 3 of these niggas. Like I said, Gusto some people you just believe. I just believe. I believe what he says. Like, if he says he's gonna do that shit, same as in White Man Can't Jump. I'm about to go to my car, get my pistol, I'm gonna shoot everybody out. I believed Ray. You feel me? I'm clearing the court. I'm out. I got the big ass biscuit scene.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just because, man. I know we I get the random urge still to this day. Even anytime a biscuit's around, like, man, shut up, turn around and eat your big ass biscuit.
Turn around and eat shit, man.
Turn around and eat your big ass biscuit. And it's just silly. Like, that's one of those things. Even when I was a kid, that was just a silly concept to me. A restaurant called Big Ass Biscuits. Like, that's just, I can't explain it, but that shit funny to me.
That shit.
It shouldn't be.
And your man's knew him off The Voice. Like, that shit's crazy, bro.
Yeah, that was funny. I can't hold you. That was hilarious.
That's just hilarious.
My man told I vote no 3 times. He wasn't going for it, bro. He trying to use me. Are you crazy? He was on me. What I'm saying, bro. We talking about Gusto? The same Gusto that. Nah, bro, you on your own by this.
But then he got easily influenced when he got noticed by old boy. Like, you know what?
Yeah, because he knew even that scene itself. Like, there was something as messed up as it was, as far as, you know, the content of that scene when we first meet Euripides at his job. It was also something interesting about seeing a Black man that's not too prideful to go get after it, like a hustle, like just trying to make something shake because I need this bread. Like, they even had the line, "A job's a job, a check's a check." You know what I mean? Like, I'm not above this, but like, I can't do this shit no more. I know it was trying to be funny, but I don't know. The way Alan Payne carried it was kind of one of those things. Like, I don't care. Y'all right here. I know y'all gonna clown me. I don't give a fuck about none of that. I gotta get this money.
Facts.
You got another scene?
Yes, the Straight Outta Low Cash video shoot. Like, that's I know it's a ripoff of Straight Outta Compton, but for real, that's a banger. Like, I fucks with that song. But not only that,
remember the words.
Huh?
I still remember the words.
Oh yeah.
I knew straight out of Low Cash before I knew straight out of Compton.
Absolutely.
As far as like the lyrics.
Yeah, but not only that, the MC Gusto feeling himself when I can't remember the character's name, Teresa Randall.
Eve,
when she comes up to him and, pretty much tells him, I'm a journalist and I'm doing a piece on you guys. And MC Gusto's talking all this shit like a thug rapper does. That woman let him know that I know all your info, brother. Albert. So you might as well chill out so I can write a good, nice little piece on you. And back then, in those days, that shit mattered. Your piece in Rolling Stone, your piece in Source, your piece in XXL, that shit really mattered.
That's what got people to the stores because there was no. You might have a single, but nothing's leaking and none of that. So the Source, the XXL, them ratings would be all right. Am I buying this album or not? What did they say about it?
Yep.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. When you mentioned that, it just made me think of Beverly Hills Cops when he was trying to get at the hotel. I'm just a small writer from Beverly Hills Cops here to interview Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? That's those magazine interviews matter. And that's what it just reminded me of. Signing to Justice. Them signing to Justice. I just appreciated but it was amazing to see that we're still in that space. The exploitation.
Yep.
Do you guys use vile words? Do you guys have guns? Do you call? You know what I mean? Record labels look for that. They look for ignorance to promote.
Yeah.
Because they know it sells. Like, if you're more of a conscious rapper, unless you like hot, like a Kendrick or Cole, they're not going to push you or give you the same kind of marketing and things like that because they want to push that image of violence and everything else.
There's that old saying: there's no such thing as bad publicity. And you in those type of situations with those type of niggas, like, come on, man. Stop it.
And just signing a record deal, the record industry as a whole just is one of the most corrupt industries of all time. And it doesn't make sense why people keep signing contracts.
Yeah. Shout out to Currency. I'm not a big Currency fan, but what he's done without a record label is insane. So shout out to him, man.
Yeah, you get a fan base, and that's what it's all about. Currency, indirectly, I'm not going to say he was a direct influence, but he made me look at what we do differently.
Yeah.
Anytime, and that's just not us. I'm sure anybody out there, if you create something, you always start with the idea, like, I want this to be the best and biggest in the world. Like, I believe in my talent. I believe in my skill. And then you start getting into it. And we say it at the beginning of each episode, how much we appreciate y'all for listening.
Yeah.
You start thinking about these people and they become real interactions. Like, I just care about this person. I just care about this group. I want y'all to love it. Anybody else is a bonus. And I think that's how things start growing organically.
Yeah.
Because you start catering to who rocks with you versus I'm trying to be the best in this and this. And like, nah, cool. So yeah, that's a great pool. Shout out to Currency for that.
Shout out to Currency.
I think that was my turn. Who you got?
That might be it for me, brother.
All right, I got a couple more. They're not long scenes, just a couple more. The kid rapping, Ben, when he was rapping while Virgil was on the phone, talking about he needed a distraction or some kind of publicity. It just shows the influence of rap. I don't think any genre of music has ever influenced generations more than hip hop. Scratch that, more than black culture in general has influenced these generations. Like, that's just a real thing. That's factual. And even the little kids saying nigga, like, just letting you know, these little white kids in the suburbs saying nigga, y'all. Like, it reminds me of a guy that I went to school with. I went to college with him. I'll never forget. He asked me, or he told me, I can't remember the exact conversation, but I remember telling me, like, hey man, I don't say that word, but if I'm listening to something in the car and rapping, I'm not gonna lie, I say it. Like, it's just the fact that he even felt comfortable. I'm like, nigga, get the fuck on out of here with that. While I say nigga, but just what that did to a generation to let them know that, I don't know, I guess I don't want to say empowered, but make them feel like it's so. I'm just giving them the excuse of it's in the song. I'm just saying what he's saying.
Well, I also shout out to Chris Rock and the screenwriters, because it's basically just showing you, like you said, the power of it, the power of hip hop, the power of Black culture, but it also shows you that when their kids are infected, they are willing to go above and beyond. Now we got to change laws because my son is listening to this trash. You feel me? Like that's why Chipper Gore explicit content. Her daughter was listening to this bullshit in her head. You know what I'm saying? So when they shit get affected, it's over. Like
you can see that. Dave Chappelle, another controversial figure, I know. But Dave Chappelle has the joke where he talked about the opioid crisis.
Yep, I was gonna say that.
He makes the flip of like, back when it was crack in the 80s, just say no. Like, why can't you just say no with the drugs? And now you have a different group of people going through a similar situation with a different type of drugs, and there's all these reforms. And I listened to a commercial on the radio the other day. I know you're probably wondering, why the fuck are you listening to the radio? But there was a commercial on the radio the other day talking about, having cans of, it wasn't Narcan, it was something else.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, like, none of this would have happened in the 80s. Like, none of this.
You can go to Walgreens, any pharmacy, and they will give you Narcan. Like, if you ask them for Narcan, they will give it to you free. You just, because don't get me started.
Because it's affecting them. Man, it's affecting them more than it is the other community. We were animals and savages. Now it's hitting their kids, and they're sick. It's a sickness. Matters. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just funny how life is. I have the sweat of my ball scene, just mainly when Virgil Robinson comes in the room and tells them the rules and what they can and can't say. I have the classic, still used to this day. You see it gift up. I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, and I'm black, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, black. Yeah, that's just a timeless class because it's silly. They were definitely mocking that conscious era, but it's still hilarious. Then the last scene I had was the Trust's funeral.
Hey, that's shit.
Trust is in that. Yeah, it's just goofy as hell. Him in the casket with the cell phone up to him. Sissy's long ass hair. Hey, Pootie Tang walking up on him, talking about he need his money, punching him in the eye.
Again, this movie saw the future because Trust is his funeral. Him in that casket wasn't shit to what be going on today. Niggas be standing up, posed.
They take him to the club,
throwing up money, all types of shit.
Yeah, there was one they took him to the club. They had flyers, bro. They had club promote flyers for a funeral. They had that man propped up in the club. They was kicking it, bro. Listen, to each their own. We're not here to judge anybody.
No.
We're not judging y'all.
I'm dead, man.
Hey, listen, we're not judging y'all, but we definitely having private conversations like this. Some silly shit right here, boy.
Silly, man.
Yeah, some silly shit. But that's really all I had. Like I said, once you get to the middle, and I love the fact that it was 90 minutes.
Yes.
But once you get to the middle of the end, it just became some other type of movie, and it is what it is. Like, it has some good moments, but it's not a classic or something that you're gonna carry. It's definitely a YouTube movie where you want to YouTube all your favorite scenes. So that's all I had as far as scenes. Best quotes. You want to start? You want me to go?
Go ahead. I'm curious to see if we have this one on here. I'm sure you don't, though.
All right, let's see. This one was silly as hell. It was in the opening. It's just a silly ass line. All due respect to the Queen, but they sold more records than Elvis Presley and Coretta Scott King combined. Like, I just thought that was silly. Ice-T, when they doing the intros at the beginning,
hey,
these motherfuckers is real, G. They showed me their guns, G. Like, it's something about that shit makes me laugh every single time. Also, I meant to say this earlier. Virgil Robinson, Phil Hartman's character. You know who that reminds me of, right?
No.
You know who that reminds me. You know who that character, not Phil Hartman. You know that character, who that character reminds me of. And as soon as I say it, you're going to be mad at yourself.
Nope.
That's Bill Gluckman, man.
It is Bill Gluckman.
That's Bill Gluckman, man. Malibu's Most Wanted.
Oh, my goodness.
I only say that because he had a funny line at the beginning. Sell black for, excuse me. Sell block for. Just get the racism out there, man. Just get it all out there in the open, Obviously, classic line when they was in the car doing the Run DMC. We was jamming, man.
We was jamming.
We was jamming.
We was jamming. You know I got that down. That was our shit. We used to get weak.
One of my favorite lines in the movie, I know it's a little bit, edgy, but Gusto, she only mess with rappers and entertainers. She don't know where to get the real big dick.
Hey.
I already said one. No, man, turn around and eat your big ass biscuit. And the last one I had is Gusto again. I'm 3 generations deep in gangsterism or gangsterdom.
Yeah, I had all them. I had small men drown in my shit.
I almost wrote that one down.
Turn around, eat your big ass biscuit. Oh, don't butt me. I'll beat your ass in front of your woman, of course.
Classic.
Where my money, motherfucker. And my favorite line in this whole movie is when Gusto was shooting that gun and nigga said, "Get some new jams, bitch." Hey, them niggas was jamming too.
Hey, White said, "Why was he shooting at us? Shooting at us?
Hey, shooting at us."
Hey, whether you was in or out of this car, them bullets was coming. That was not for you, bro. Yeah, that was not for you.
Hey, your boy Gusto had some one-liners, man. That nigga called the cop fake ass Bruce Willis.
Fake ass Bruce Willis, yeah, man. That's even more hilarious considering 1993.
Yep.
That joke went over 10 times. It was 10 times funnier back then.
Yep.
Scene stealer.
He said, "What your posse supposed to be deep?"
Yeah. Flip that table on them, man. Let them know. You gotta let people know what time it is early, bro.
I'm not my nigga, bro. Nigga said, "What your posse supposed to be deep?"
I flipped this whole shit over in my club, bro. You know what that remind me of, right? This is another school and rich thing. It reminds me of that video in Chicago. Dude had that gun in his jacket. I do not play like that.
I do not play like that at all, nigga.
At all, bro. Stop coming up to me all this gangster shit. I promise on everything. This will be your last night.
I'm surprised dude ain't, man, listen. He still makes videos, so yeah.
Man, listen, that's a whole other thing. You got Scene Stealer?
It's between Gusto and Candy, man.
Okay. Who you got?
I'm gonna say Gusto because that's why I chose the movie, man. But I forgot how great Candy was in this movie.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it to. Oh, you know what? I'm giving it to Art Evan, Albert Sr.
Okay.
I'm giving it to Art Evan, but Candy Alexander probably would be my second.
Okay.
You asked me 10 years ago to no question, hands down, MC Gusto.
Yeah.
Or excuse me, Gusto, not MC Gusto. Gusto, played by Charlie Murphy. It doesn't even feel right not to give it to him. Yeah, I think that's the only right answer. It's got to be Gusto. I'm sorry. I think as an adult now, I love Albert Sr. a little bit more and just those dad jokes and all that. But Gusto is, like you said, that's a classic, timeless character. When Charlie Murphy passed away, that's the picture I use on my Instagram to kind of give him a shout out and give him his flowers. And Gusto, like you are timeless character. Yeah. So yeah, that's the only right answer. I got to give it to that. Oh, let's see what else we got. Things that bother you.
I already mentioned the one thing that had bothered me, but that was about it. This movie is slapstick, it's silly, so
yeah, there wasn't too much.
Gusto being able to break out of prison
with nobody looking for him.
Yeah, like come on, man, that shit silly, man.
I will say, and this is a goofy slapstick silly movie, like you said. You had a lot of great women in this movie that could have done more.
Yep.
I don't know what that more would have.
Randall.
Yeah, I don't know what that more would have been, but it just would have been nice. I mean, there was just strong actors in this film. Outside of Candy Alexander, I think Candy Alexander smoked her role. She smoked her role. But yeah, it's just been nice to see that, and also.
I think that goes to the point of you talking about Chris Rock and his first thing and trying to lead and just he probably didn't know what to do with all these great actresses. And
that's a good point. That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm gonna put this in the same category as when we talked in Above the Rim. When we talked about Kyle and I can't remember Marlon's character off the top of my head for some reason. But when he was watching him take a piss,
yeah.
Like how I talked about how that was just odd. The same at the end of this film when Albert was dressed up as a woman to trap Gusto, and then him and Otis had a moment. It was just like, why is this in a movie? Why is this here? Like, who would laugh at that? Who laughed at it? I just don't know. Whatever.
Chris Rock, yes.
I'm not even going there. There were no come see about me moments. Any actors from The Wire? Nope. Wouldn't let that happen to me. I can't say much. I mean, the whole thing is silly.
I believe Gusto. He would have did the same to us. So yeah,
You got any trivia for school?
Yeah, this is Shar Jackson's debut. If you don't know, she's from Moesha. I can't remember her character's name in Moesha. But anyway, another thing, Talk Like Sex was a Cool G rap song. And that was the Sweat Off My Balls. And another song, of course, Straight Outta Compton, Straight Outta Low Cash. And I think you mentioned Robert Low Cash is a screenwriter. That's where they got Low Cash from. And that's about it. Not too much, you know.
I got you. There might be people yelling at you right now for not knowing that's Niecy.
Niecy.
Oh. Yeah, might be people yelling at you right now. But yeah, shout out to Shar Jackson.
Y'all. I was gonna name her your boy. That's Britney Spears. Damn. What's name?
Just stop.
Yep, I'm done.
That was also something that bothered me. Not Shar Jackson, but I don't like when films
introduce characters for no reason.
No, I don't like when film that, but I don't like when films don't respect the audience's intelligence to write throwaway lines. And what I mean, and this is very nitpicky, we see the scene with Albert going to Otis's. We see his sisters, and when they're leaving, there's a line in there. Otis, you are the man of the house. Nigga, Otis is one of your best friends. You know that. Why are you randomly telling him this when you leave the house today? Like, that's for the movie. You don't need it. We see that. We get it.
Yeah.
Small nitpick stuff. I just gotta mention it. Only other thing I have for trivia was Charlie Murphy said for his first audition as Gusto, Chris Rock wanted him to be meaner, I guess more gangster. So the second audition, he came in with a loaded gun. And then he got the part.
Hey, man, that's him.
He came in on that.
That's Murphy, man.
Yeah, I think it belonged to his brother. It says Ray Murphy. So he took his brother's gun and was like, yeah, all right, cool. You want me to be a gangster? I'll be a gangster. And also, fun fact, school, I'm surprised you did not mention this because as much as we love Martin, when we first see Alan Payne's character, Euripides, at the phone service, he's wearing a Howard University sweatshirt, the whole outfit, and it's the same one Martin wore when he told Cole, like, I'll see you tonight.
Classic.
And that's the cover of season 2 of Martin. I think he's actually wearing a Howard University sweatshirt. And then also, I mentioned this at the very beginning. Isaac Hayes is in this film. Yes. A lot of people don't know that there is an end credit scene. We see throughout this film that Chris Rock, I don't want to say mocks, but he gives little Easter eggs for other films he's been in.
Yeah.
We see the moment where he's smoking the pipe. That's a callback to Pookie. We see the moment when Gusto's getting arrested. And he said, "Now Gusto wasn't no Nino Brown, which obviously he was in
New Jack City.
New Jack City with them. Alan Payne and Chris Rock were together in New Jack City. Ice-T was in New Jack City, who was obviously one of the real characters in this beginning of this film. But a movie that School and myself loved, like one of our very first movies that we used to laugh about all the time, was I'm Gonna Get You Suckin'.
Yes.
And there's a classic scene with Chris Rock. Let me get one rib. Everybody, if you've seen the movie, you know that scene. At the very end of this movie, at the end credits, Chris Rock and Isaac Hayes are having a conversation. How much for the newspaper? 35 cents. Well, how about I give you 15 cents? You just give me some good news. It's just a riff of that. It's the same thing in a different format. It's a 30-second scene just to put in there, just to call back to I'm Gonna Get You Suckin'. So He's in the credits, and a lot of people are like, what? I don't remember seeing Isaac Hayes. That's why he's in there. We get to the end of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just tell you right now, brother. The fact that we got over an hour,
man,
on CB4 is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But we get to the end where we rate the film. The average viewer rates CB4 as a 6.2 out of 10. Too high, too low, just right.
I'm gonna say it's just right.
Same, just right.
Yeah,
it is just right.
Mm-hmm.
I've said it already. Appreciate how ahead of the curve it was.
Yeah.
As far as just predicting what hip hop looks like, I also, some of it just didn't land as much, and that's just what it is. That's a lot of those movies back then. That we've talked about it before. I don't have to go to nauseam about it, but I appreciate CB4. I will continue to watch CB4.
Absolutely.
It's not something that I just dislike. It's perfectly rated, 6.2.
Hey,
so
I was gonna say shout out to Alan Payne, bro. That nigga do not age.
Nah, he doesn't. He doesn't, man. House of Pain, he's still working. Yeah. Shout out to Alan Payne for real.
Pain.
With that being said, school, this is a pleasure as always. Appreciate talking about CB4 with you. I had no idea how this conversation was going to go just because of the nature of the movie.
Yes.
But I enjoyed the convo with you. For everybody out there listening, thank you. Thank you for letting us run our mouths in these microphones, as Ray P likes to say.
Yes.
We will be back next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, share, comment, everything else under the sun. Every single Thursday. School's Guilty Pleasure. I think you have a new episode dropping this upcoming Tuesday, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, bet, man. So we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all be cool. Y'all be cool.
Peace.
Peace out, y'all.